Hi there, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar and for being on time. Sorry about the slight delay there. My name is Adam Charlton, and I work in the recruitment department here at Richmond, the American International University in London, and I have with me Dr. William Allchorn from the Centre of Analysis of the Radical Right. We will be taking you through today's presentation. There will be the opportunity to have a question and answer session at the end, and you should all have a sort of grey control panel on the right hand side of your screen, or possibly the left hand side of your screen. Within there's a questions box. So as we are going through the presentation, please do type any questions you have into that box. And then when we get to the question and answer session at the end, we will address those questions. You'll also see that there is a handouts tab there as well, or box there as well. And within that, we have posted the sort of prospectus, the marketing information flyer for this program as well. So for those of you that haven't seen that already, please do sort of download a copy of that and use that to refer to for basic information about the program. I hope you can all sort of hear me. You have this sort of raise hand icon as well within this sort of attendee list. If you are having any technical difficulties, please do click on that, and then I can perhaps just behind the scenes follow up with you and just see what issue you're having and seeing if we can fix that. Otherwise, we're going to begin. So this is a new master's program that we are launching this year in collaboration with the Centre for Analysis of the Radical Right, and we really think it's a sort of pioneering program that will give you great insight into this new area that is developing within the industry. So today we're going to take you through what this master's program can offer you, why you should study this at Richmond, and what makes us a unique institution here in the UK. I'm then going to hand you over to William, who will take you through the sort of program structure and the academic side of things, and then we'll give you some sort of general information about application process, tuition fees, scholarships, before we have the question and answer session. So this master's degree program has really been designed to give you the skills for you to have sort of a successful career within government. So whether that might be around policy formation, advising, consultation, perhaps more within the security services or counter-terrorism. You could also use this program to go on and work in academia, so to do a PhD and to do further study around this discipline. And then we also have students who will go on and work in areas of diplomacy, perhaps advising sort of diplomatic missions, or you could look to work into the field of journalism. And then there's also an emerging area with tech companies that need people with the knowledge and skills that this master's degree would give you to advise them on sort of data and public policy moving forward. Will, you can take me through this bit.
Yeah, no, thanks, Adam, and great to be here. Yeah, I'm really excited by this program. I think it's really timely, and hopefully it'll be a good way for yeah, us as a program team to equip the next generation of practitioners involved in security and terrorism. So I'm really delighted to be here. And yeah, in terms of those career paths, I think what's really interesting is there are governments like NGOs and tech companies crying out for people with like subject specific knowledge about this particular form of extremism. So it'd be a real kind of segue into some of these careers in terms of security and defence, but also more broadly kind of the area of counter-extremism. So yeah, I mean, so in terms of the course itself, trying to aim to do is also to verse you guys in terms of the history of far-right and fascism, and look at kind of also what's been happening in the past 30 years up to present. So we're trying to take as broad kind of overview as possible, while also giving you a bit more specific contemporary knowledge about some of the dynamics that are at play within the radical right globally. So look at, for example, explainers of success in terms of political parties, how they break through. There's also this whole debate at the moment about prescription. There's lots of governments currently in the process of prescribing the more violent fringe kind of far-right movements, terrorist movements. And we'll also be having a look at core questions. So like, how does the far-right organise, who they recruit, and the everyday lives, I think, is a really interesting aspect, the sociology of these movements. Questions around gender, it's always an interesting one in terms of the activist profile. So I'll say a bit more about course structure in a second. We've got a nice breakdown that Adam's provided for us. But I just, want to say again that this is a really kind of contemporary issue that we're studying, and it might be changing even as we study the program in this this first year. We'll be constantly getting news about both the movements themselves, but also how government responds to it as well.
Thanks, Will. And yeah, guys, you can see there, as with a lot of these new disciplines, a lot of the jobs or career pathways, they are happening, now, and will happen over the next 2-3 years, and you will be in a great position to take advantage of those. So for those of you that don't know, Richmond, the American International University in London, is London's truly American university. We've been operating since 1972, and we have a campus in Richmond, which is in southwest London, and then we also have a campus in Kensington, which is right in the heart of West London, and is where you would be based for this master's degree. We are a truly international university, so although we're very small, we probably only have about 250 postgraduate students, and we probably have a good sort of 40 different nationalities within that. All the master's programs that we teach here at Richmond are taught by a combination of academic experts and then also industry specialists as well. So you're getting a great mix of both academic and then practical real world knowledge taught to you on the program. We have a graduate employment rate of 93%. So that means within 6 months of leaving university, 93% of our graduates are in a full-time graduate job or are in further study. We have very sort of small class sizes at master's degree level. We're hoping to have a good cohort join us for this degree in September, but I imagine it's going to be around sort of 15 to 20 students. So you're going to get a lot of personal attention and support. You might sort of see other master's degrees here in the UK, and you'll be sitting in a lecture room with 200 people. That is not the case here at Richmond. The academic staff will know you by name. You'll be expected to have discussions and debates in all your lessons. You'll have a minimum of 9 hours teaching time, and you'll see how that breaks down in a couple of slides. And you'll have your own personal academic advisor. So that will be one of our full-time faculty members who will be your person to help advise you on any academic decisions you have to make, perhaps on doing an internship. And also they will probably advise you on your sort of thesis or research project as well. And as a Richmond graduate, you're going to join our alumni network. We have 15,000 alums spanning 140 countries, and this is a great resource for you to sort of utilize both as a student in terms of doing research, but then also once you graduate for making contacts and building a network in the area that you want to. And of course, we are based in London. I know we have a few international students joining us here today. London is consistently voted the world's #1 international student city. It is a global hub for particularly areas related to this industry. So for sort of things like think tanks, policy advising, NGOs, the security services, and then charity sector as well, and other third sectors. So we really feel that the internship program we offer in a city like London is going to, put you in the best place for when you graduate and for when you're entering the job industry. Will, over to you for the program structure. Thanks,
Adam. Yeah, I can't stress enough how how good some of the intern partners are. But I'll refer to those specifically in a second. But in terms of the structure of the course, so at Richmond, follow the American 3 semester system. So if you're joining from a UK university, you might just have the autumn. I guess you have term systems more. But in terms of the Richmond system, we tend to follow the US system. So we have these 3 semesters, and I think this is great because you'll both get, as part of this course, an academic kind of grounding, but also kind of practical kind of delivery of course content, but also obviously as you go into the summer, where we encourage you guys to join the internship partners, you be slowly, gradually infused with the knowledge that you need in order to thrive in that environment, and really get the most out of those internships. So in terms of the structure, half the modules are more I guess, far right specific or focused. So Professor Don Alessio, who we have on the call, he's been instructing a module, I think more undergraduate level, but designed this time for more graduate kind of grounding in the history of fascism and the far right, and some of the evolutions in radical right ideology over the 20th century. And then I'll be teaching in the spring semester a module looking at kind of the parties, but also the social movements in both Western, kind of European, US. We also have a look at some kind of global areas of development, places like India, obviously with Hindu nationalism there, and also kind of, I guess, the Anglosphere, so places like Australia, New Zealand, that have also seen a rise in the past 10 or so years, especially in terms of the extra parliamentary scene of the far right, so like street movements and terrorist organizations, that sort of thing. And then another module that I teach, which is connected to my research, is looking at kind of study of responses. So we'll look at a lot of different country cases again, compare how they're dealing both with extremism generally on the far right, but also specifically things around terrorism, and this other connected issue of hate crime based on religious and ethnic motivation. So yeah, I think that's it. I know that we have Dom on the call. Is there anything, Dom, that you'd like to add in terms of the evolution module that I haven't covered?
Sure. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Adam. It's nice to be here. Hello, everybody. Yeah, the course itself is going to look at where these ideas came from, because they really seem to pop up in the 19th century. They're newbies on the political scene, and yet these ideas have had such a massive influence, and that's one of the reasons why I think the course. I mean, we talk about the practical realities of this course and the practical reasons for doing it, but I think there's some significant intellectual and everyday concerns about how these movements were spawned and what motivated them. So we're going to be looking at, as Will implied, a comparative examination of really where the far right or fascism comes from an ideological or political and historical perspective. So we'll start in the late 19th century and bring it up ready so people can then take Dr. Allchorn's course on contemporary movements. So it's a kind of historical perspective. The focus inevitably has to be on Europe because that's where it begins, but we'll also be looking at North America, India. I mean, one of my research areas a while ago was on the BJP and far-right movements in India and Bollywood, or we'll look at the Americas. We're also going to look at the Middle East. I think that's also an interesting case study to develop. As Dr. Allchorn implied, this course arose out of an undergraduate course we've done before. And just, you know, COVID allowing, be lots of, I'm hoping to have, in addition to guest lectures, but some really interesting museum visits and gallery visits to places like Imperial War Museum or the Weimar Library or the Historic Gallery, guest lectures, as I've said, and one of the hopes is, it's also one of the great things I always enjoy about working at Richmond is that because you have that small environment that Adam was talking about, what I would really love to do is work with some of the students, and we do this before already, in terms of, you know, actually publishing work together. We've had some significant successes in getting students published in academic journals or on blogs, etc. And then from there, they've got some nice scholarships to do postgraduate work after. So I think that's another nice thing about the American system as well, because you have these small classes, you get to know your students, and you can work with them. So yeah, so that's essentially an overview of the course. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, sorry, Adam.
Yeah, I'm just going to just to emphasize that point that Dom made there for those guys listening, that this sort of close collaboration that we do at master's level, you won't sort of see that in the same way at these larger institutions. And as Dom said, you know, to be able to do a master's degree with us and then do work on published research with your professor is quite unique to us, I would say. So please do factor that into your thinking.
Great, thanks both. And yeah, so there's other modules obviously that we cover in terms of research methods, with a nod more, I guess, to the ethical and also kind of empirical challenges of studying extremist movements. And we have two other modules that are taught by faculty at Richmond that talk to more general themes to do with terrorism and security. So we are focused on the radical right, but we also look more kind of broadly as well to equip you guys with an understanding of some of the broader issues related to security and terrorism. If you haven't perhaps had a chance to study these at undergraduate level, those modules will be a really good grounding for you guys there. So yeah, if we just move to the next slide. Thanks, Adam. So here is the dream team for the new masters. So collaboration between myself and several professors at Richmond. So you've already heard from and met Professor Dominic Alessio. Paul Recruitment will also be one of the course directors, and his research is really in the realm of kind of political philosophy and looking more at some of the kind of the cultural questions relating to this phenomena. Then we also have Candida, and she'll be doing the security and insecurities module, as well as teaching a bit on the research methodology, and she looks at kind of questions around gender, post-colonial theory related to the global politics of bodies. She's recently been looking at, for example, the COVID-19 pandemic and its relation to kind of those security issues. And then Noga, Dr. Noga Glucksum, she'll be taking the terrorism module in the first semester, looking at kind of civil war, and obviously sectarianism, polarization is kind of a driver for some of these these movements, to extremist movements, to kind of surface. So that would be really interesting there. And also Professor Mike Keating, who also has a fairly international focus in political economy. So we'll also have guest lecturers coming in to talk to you guys, both from, so CAR has around 90 fellows who are specifically researching different aspects of the far right in different countries. So we'll be getting them along to lend their expertise, and we'll also be calling on some of the industry partners from think tanks, from journalism, from kind of security backgrounds, to talk to you a bit about their work in the more kind of applied sphere, I guess. So that's it in terms of this slide. Just moving on, I'm just aware of time. No, that's fine. Thank you, Adam. So yeah, in terms of CAR itself, we're a UK-based research centre. We have about 90 fellows now, all who kind of focus on this issue of radical right extremism. We have several different grades of fellows. So we have doctoral students as well as tenured academics, and also what we call policy and practitioner fellows. So these are fellows who either have a more journalistic background, or they're kind of counter-terrorism practitioners, for example, or people involved in the think tank world. We regularly get called by governments, tech companies and NGOs to do collaborative research. So like creating like a taxonomy of perhaps like offending content when it comes to social media or terroristic content on the far right. We also do government briefings on kind of new and emerging threats by fellows, and we've also been involved in helping to develop certain policies around kind of counter-extremism and counter-terrorism responses to the far right. So CAR MA students, so people on this MA will have opportunity to work with CAR as well as the several other partners that we have, and we've been able to leverage some of our contacts to put on a really amazing internship program. So yeah, so moving on to those partnerships, we've had several quite good relationships here with some journalistic outfits. So Rant Media and Fair Observer, as well as Open Democracy, will all serve as intern partners. They also kind of the lifeblood of the centre is a five-day-a-week blog that we do, where our fellows get to talk about in an accessible way their research. But they've also, these partners have been kind enough to house interns from this MA. So one of them is obviously fairly big name in terms of online. We also have relationships with kind of tech-facing or tech companies that are involved in countering terrorism. So the Global Internet Forum for Counterterrorism, which is also one of our partners for the internships for this MA, they're kind of a consortium of companies like Facebook and other Silicon Valley organizations who are trying to get better at kind of taking down terroristic content. Tech Against Terrorism is also a London-based NGO who does a similar thing, but they look more at kind of equipping smaller tech platforms in fighting against terrorism. And then more recently, RUSI, the Royal United Services Institute, has joined as an intern partner. They're one of the oldest security and defence think tanks in the UK, so we've been really chuffed to have them on board. But I won't highlight all of those because I could probably speak for another half an hour on all of that. So yeah, Adam, if you want to click through to the next one. Yeah, so I'll just quickly talk about some of the streams, and then I'll let Adam talk a bit more about the kind of the nuts and bolts, the practicalities. So we have more journalistic intern partners that you'll be able to intern at. So Rant Media, Fair Observer are kind of the key ones. You also get to kind of do that more tech route if you're more interested with GIFCT and Tech Against Terrorism, but also Human Rights First and the Khalifa Isla Institute, all doing kind of research-based kind of methods of trying to deal with this issue online. And then we have 2 think tank partners, so that's RUSI and also the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, who've been really leading a lot of the non-academic research when it comes to studying the far right, especially online. So yeah, I'll hand over to Adam and yeah, to talk a bit more about the internships. Adam, I think you're muted. The catchword of the pandemic is.
Thank you for that, Will. So guys, I hope you've got a good idea of the types of organizations that you could do an internship with while on this program. I'm just going to take you back a couple of slides just to this one where we talk about the structure a little bit. So you would have seen here that in this summer semester, this is when you would do your internship. So just to emphasize that teaching will finish, these 3 modules will be taught in that full semester. Teaching will finish at the beginning of May, but you will still be a Richmond student. You will still have access to our facilities and to the car facilities. But from this May to August period, you will have to complete your research project and do an internship. And what makes our internships sort of so unique is that these are for credit. So please do pay attention to this when you're perhaps comparing this to other courses, if that's something that you end up doing. But these are accredited internship. They are part of your degree program. You have to have studied these other modules in order to do one of these internships. And you're going to be utilizing the knowledge that you've learned throughout the year during your internship. And because we award credit, you are assessed on your internship. As a reward for doing a shorter research thesis, you will be assessed by your work supervisor, your personal academic advisor from Richmond will also visit your workplace and speak to your supervisor there and write a report on you. And you're going to have to submit some work about your internship, and that's how you're going to earn these 4 credits. And this is what really makes the program so special, because you're going to build up all this academic knowledge and theoretical knowledge throughout the year. You're then going to do a research thesis on the area you want to work in, and then do an internship in that type of organization as well. So once you finish the year, you have these 3 great things that are going to give you the basis for a successful career in this area. And it's a formula we use across our master's degrees, and it works. And we have students that have been offered full-time jobs where they've done their internships at, and we've even had international students be sponsored because they were so successful on their internships and they wanted to be kept. So that's just to sort of emphasize when you would do the internship. They are normally for a minimum of 6 weeks, but can be longer because we need you to do a minimum number of hours in order to award that credit. And just sort of more generally, the internship is a great way for you to develop contacts, start building up your network within this industry. It's going to give you some confidence. It's going to allow you to put into practice the skills, the theoretical knowledge that you've learned during the year. And quite importantly, it may give you a better insight into what you do or don't want to do. You might think you want to do the journalistic element that this program could offer you, but after doing an internship, maybe realize actually that that's not for you. And we think that's really important. You will have, within the first semester of joining Richmond, you will have a consultation with our careers and internship office about the type of area you would like to work with. And at the start, there will probably be a lot of collaboration with William and the team at CAR around that as well. Moving on to a few more sort of practical things. So I know a couple of you on here have applied for this program already, and you have offers, which is great. And for those of you that haven't yet, we have a direct application form on our website. It's an online form. It asks for sort of general information, and you need to complete this, and then you will also need to email the supporting documents you can see here to make up the rest of your application. So those should be a personal statement. This should be about 500 words. Highlight why you would like to study this MA, why you would like to do so in London at Richmond, your skills and the sort of experience in this area. And particularly important, because this is a relatively new area and you may not have may not have studied this before, we really would like to know what you sort of want to do in the future with this degree, what you're looking to get out of it, so William and the other academics can assure that this is the right fit for you. Please do send us a copy of your CV. We need to see proof of your bachelor's degree. The lowest grade we will accept for this program is a 2-2, so that's a second-class degree here in the UK, or the international equivalent. For US students, that would be a minimum GPA of 3.3. For international students, you're looking at roughly a minimum of 65% on your bachelor's degree. I have a long list of every country and how the qualifications will translate, so please do just send us a message if you'd like to know what that is in the German or Spanish or French or Indian system. And then once we've received these documents, we will invite you to attend an interview with the academic team, and this is just essentially to ensure that you are going to be a right fit for the program, and just so that the academics can meet you in a more formal capacity. Tuition fees you can see here at the bottom of the screen. We do have some really generous scholarships to help reduce those fees, which I'll show you now, and then I'll just come back to the English language. So for any EU nationals here, you can receive a discount from that international fee of £4,250. And then for any UK, US, or students from other countries, international students, we are offering a 20% or 15% reduction in the tuition fees based on your bachelor's degree grade. These awards will be automatically made once your place has been confirmed, so you don't need to submit a separate application. There's no scholarship committee or anything like that. If you have the grades, you will automatically be awarded this tuition fee reduction. And then just jumping back here, there are English language requirements as well for those of you that don't speak English as a first language. Yes, so yeah, you can see those on the screen there, and they are listed on the website as well. The teaching facility at Richmond is located in Kensington, as I said. So Kensington is, you can see here, it's in central London, just slightly in West London. And then Richmond also has this campus in southwest London, which is home to our bachelor's degree students. This is a great central London location. It's if you're an international student, it's a great location to be in. There's lots of activity going on sort of just within the local area, and there's lots of museums, galleries, exhibitions within walking distance of the campus. And for them, when you go on to do your internship, many of the organisations that you'll be interning with are also in central London, so there's ease of access to travel to those places. And then just as a sort of final slide, we obviously understand that lots of you are concerned about the COVID-19 situation and starting uni this year. The UK government is fully supporting and expecting all universities to resume face-to-face teaching in September. This is what Richmond will be doing. Obviously, we understand that this situation could change, so we do have sort of lots of precautions and contingencies in place. And we will, of course, keep you updated of that over the summer, and if any changes do happen in the next couple of months. But currently, vaccinations are going very well here in the UK. and things are looking very positive for all universities to start with face-to-face teaching in September, and that's what we are planning to do. Sorry, there was one more slide here. This is, we are having a panel discussion on the Wednesday, the 14th of July between 5 and 6 p.m. We'll be there, as will be some other representatives from Richmond. And yeah, it was looking at faces of the radical right, from neo-Nazi occultism to street movements. If you would like to join this, please can you send us an email at inquiries@richmond.ac.uk, and we will add you to the list. There's some contact details on the screen here for myself and for Will. We also have some social media handles which I'll show you shortly, but we're now going to look at some questions, and I think there's been a few that have come through, which is great. So Will, I'm not sure, can you see those okay, the questions?
Yeah, I can see them. Yeah, in the
just click on the arrow, the box should pop out. There's a couple, guys, it's just going to take us a second. There are a couple of long questions, so I'll just need to read through those. Please do type any other questions you have into the questions box there. Dom, Dom, I think you should be able to see those as well, so also please free to jump in.
Sure. Well, I think I can answer William's question. I think that's the one about the background of the cohorts, if that's correct.
Yes, please go ahead.
It's going to be mixed. It's a very good question. There are going to be some undergraduate students who have completed it, but we're thinking, we can't prophesy, but we're thinking as well there will be some students who might be a little bit older, might have gone into the workforce, might have been already working for some of these organizations or wanting to, and want to have some of that historical, theoretical background to apply. So I think it's going to be a range. 50-50 maybe, or 60-40, I can't tell you exactly, but that's roughly going to be the background. And I'm assuming they'll probably be mixed. Our Richmond's general breakdown in terms of nationalities is about 30 to 40% US, 30 to some odd 40% EU, and 30 to 40%. And EU includes UK and other international. So it should be a really good international mix. That's one of the great things about working here is students come from all over, so you get these different perspectives. So I hope that answers your question, William.
Yeah, that's great. And just to sort of emphasize that, we generally find that, as Dom just said, we have a group of people that are fresh out of a bachelor's degree on our masters. There's a group that have got some work experience, and then there's a group that perhaps have got a little bit more work experience and are looking to do this for to further their knowledge. And then just to answer Abra's question there, asking, do you need to provide proof of English if you already have a bachelor's or a master's in English, but are not a native speaker? So Abra, the short answer to that is it depends on your immigration status, which we don't need to go into now. Essentially, if you have a bachelor's degree that is from a majority English-speaking country, then no, you don't need to provide proof of language. Equally, if you are a UK national or have indefinite leave to remain, then we can speak, and you have qualifications in English, we can talk to you about waivering the English. So we might just have to look on a case-by-case basis. Yeah. And then there's another question here sort of about credits. So let me just read through that. No, so sorry, I'm just trying to, really good. In terms of using previous credit from a master's degree, that's not usually possible, I'm afraid, but we would certainly want to have a look at that. And if you are, so we could show some flexibility with the scholarship depending on your previous qualifications as well. So if your bachelor's degree doesn't meet the scholarship requirement, but you have some master's a master's degree perhaps that does, then we could show some flexibility there, but we want to sort of look at it on a case-by-case basis. So I would be I'll contact you separately, Noel, and we can look at that. Yeah, really good question about deadlines for the programme. We have a rolling admissions deadline, but the time is fast approaching when we will have to cut off for this year. So you really need to, if you are interested and do want to apply, you need to do so in the next sort of week or so, I would say. Or I understand you may not have all your documents completely ready in that time, but please indicate to us that you are serious about applying and would like to join the programme. For international students that need a visa, there's quite a few sort of documents and checks that we need to put in place before we can confirm your place. And we usually want to do that sort of by mid-July. And then that gives you a month to get your visa, plan for moving to the UK, and all the other things that you'll need to do. And for UK students on here, you obviously have a bit more flexibility. We can accept you much later, but please do let us know now if you are seriously considering the programme for September. And if you'd like to arrange a one-to-one consultation with sort of myself or some of the team here at Richmond or Will, we can do that for you as well. So just so for any of you that would like to sort of have further conversations or set up some one-to-one chats, then please do email me this inquiries@richmond.ac.uk. I will pick those up and I can arrange that sort of for you moving forward. This question at the top, is this more of a general info from Matthew? Yeah.
Just about the new, new internship.
Yeah. So guys, please do read that first question by Matthew, who's one of our colleagues at CAR, for some more insight there on the Royal United Services Institute. Guys, do we have any other sort of academic sort of questions that you'd like to ask about the programme, or anything else around the background? You can see on the screen there, just there's some social media handles for Richmond, the American University.
Yeah, I might just put the different CAR ones in as well if people want to either visit the website or follow us on Twitter. Because it might be that you're already interested and engaged, and want to know more about what we do. So just make sure there's no.
William, I'm sorry that you can't see that. I will email round just that bit of further information when I send you guys a follow up to this. Yeah. There's a good question here from Benjamin. Can you see that, Will?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's an interesting question. I think we do engage both with online and traditional media, specifically in the radical right politics course. And I think that there's always that kind of underlying question about how far-right terrorism in particular is covered versus other forms. So is obviously Islamist terrorism is the one that comes to mind there. So we will be looking at the media, and we might even be able to get in Rant, who you might not have heard about, but Ahmed, who's the founder of that, he basically tracked every day the developments of the Trump presidency, and he's currently moving now towards looking more extremism and counter-extremism related to the media. So he'll have some really interesting insights there. And I guess it also, question there by Benjamin also speaks to like the mainstreaming as well of some of the politics of the far right, and how it's radicalized the mainstream, which is something I'll talk a bit more about in that 14th of July event, alongside Professor Dominic Alessio, who will look at some worrying trends in terms of the kind of fusion between kind of neo-Nazism and the occult and kind of pagan forms that have been linked to organisations that have been prescribed by the UK government, in fact, because of how extreme that's become. So I hope that's a good enough. It's just a teaser as well, a cheeky plug for the virtual discussion panel. But Benjamin, feel free to re-raise it then, because I know that Professor Alessio and Paul, Dr. Paul Recruitment, who's the course director, who will be chairing the panel, will also be able to perhaps offer their thoughts on it as well.
So guys, that's just around, will there be a focus on media sort of empires between Australia, UK, US, and their effect on the political discourse? And that's something we'll be discussing at the panel event.
We'll definitely touch upon that during that session.
Well, do you mind just putting that your the Twitter into the sort of the bottom box on the chat there?
Yeah, apologies. I'm just
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Great.
Yeah. Guys, do we have other questions? Is there anything else anyone sort of wants to ask about the sort of academic makeup or about Richmond, sort of more generally? So guys, just to emphasize as well that in terms of sort of the teaching setup, so each class is just under 3 hours per week, and generally these are going to be arranged over 2 or 3 days. So they might be compacted into 2 days, or they may be over 3 days. So it is a full-time degree. We would expect you to sort of be able to dedicate sort of 30 hours a week to classes and to studying. But the classes will only be over sort of 2 days. They'll be in between the hours of 9 to 5. So it is sort of possible to do some part-time work alongside studying for this MA. And we do have students that do that on our other programs.
I think there was one question there by Noel again, which is, I guess, more on the academic side of things. So I don't know whether there is any staff.
So let me just read out. So guys, there's just a question here saying, is there any current faculty research interest in the radical right in Eastern Europe and Ukraine specifically? Dom, is there someone at Richmond that is sort of looking at that?
There is someone who actually specializes in nationalism in Eastern Europe. That's Dr. Martin Brown. Now, he's not teaching on this program, but he is someone who Noel can chat to. And in fact, I think he's actually right now based in the Baltic states, and that's one of the new areas he's working on. So yes, we do have someone who looks at nationalism and in Eastern Europe in particular.
Cool, great. And sorry, Will, you were going to say about CAR.
So we've got quite a few fellows who focus on Eastern Europe and the Ukraine. We have a policy and practitioner fellow, Michael Colborne, who's an expert in terms of far right movements there. We also have Kathy Condor. She's just graduated from a PhD, but she looked at like far right social movements in Hungary. And we've got several other new fellows who've joined as senior fellows based in Poland. I'm trying to think. I think mainly Poland. and there's a few other countries as well. So we kind of, as a centre, we're trying to push the boundaries in terms of the discipline a bit more, so we can cover Central and Eastern Europe, but also the global South as well, and manifestations of the far right there. So that's always something we have a keen eye on. And either Mike or perhaps someone from CAR can obviously come in to give a talk about that as well. If that's not covered, then we'll be sure to try and cover it in that way.
Cool. Great, thanks, Will. Guys, do we have any other questions or anything else? It doesn't have to be so specifically related about this program, anything sort of more general. Particularly around sort of studying in London, studying in the UK. Please do feel free to ask. Otherwise, if there's no more, then we'll be looking to sort of finish in the next sort of few minutes or so. So I know there's been quite a lot of information here today. I will email you all a copy of this presentation later this evening or first thing tomorrow morning. So I know you, as often the way, as soon as you log off from these things, you think, oh, I wish I'd asked this, or I wish I'd asked that. So you will receive an email from us. Please do reply to that with any follow-up questions you have. And just again, if you do want to email William or myself, please use the contact addresses that you see there. As I said, I'll give you sort of a minute or so for anyone to think of any further questions, but if there isn't anything else, then we will be finishing shortly. Okay, guys, I can't see any other questions coming in. So in that case, we'll look to just to sort of wind things down. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you found the session useful, and we will be in touch following up. Please do check out sort of the Richmond website and the CAR website for more details of the programme. The flyer is in the handouts there. I can see a few of you sort of logging off now. Guys, if there's nothing else, then I think I'm just going to end the webinar. So thank you all very much. Please do have a lovely evening, and we'll be in touch over email.